Ah, peace. I appreciate you for joining, sitting in tonight. My name is Jihad. I did that a million times. I don't know how I bubbled up, but had a few life things happen for me in a positive way. Some not so positive, but we have to learn how to deal with our problems, right? First of all, man, I want to give a shout out, man, for people that's been asking for the show, man. Are you still podcasting? These episodes coming. And yes, I do. And I just thank you for the support. I thank you for those that have been tuning in. I want to give a shout out, man, to the many new podcasters and the many new people that I've met in the podcast group on Facebook. Thank you for you brothers and sisters for your support. I'm thankful for the grateful feedback, as well as you all have great shows yourself. We're gonna make that happen, man. So we'll become guests on each other's show, man. We talk about some very powerful, constructive things. Um, Let me reintroduce this platform. Now, when I first started podcasting, it was called Jihad Live. And understanding the code, I kind of went wrong with that because a message should never be about the individual. It should not be about the messenger. It should always be about the message. And then I took a more universal approach. The more I started to understand the code, the more I became more universally minded. And I'm big on humanity because all people count, right? Everybody matters. But in the grand scheme of things, being the non-white man in the concept called America, and I deal with the system of white supremacy, racism, I realized that this lane is traveled by very few, and very few people are going to take this walk. And so I realized as of recently, lately, that black men such as my caliber, and this ain't no jihad self-promotion or anything like that, but I got to speak my truth and I got to tell my story. Black men of my caliber who are conscious to racism, who understand what white supremacy is, what it looks like, and how it works, we become the acquired man. Now, a lot of people are asking, what exactly does the title mean? It's no different than when people drink alcohol, and I always ask them, what made you start drinking alcohol? Well, I acquired a taste for alcohol. So to acquire a taste for something means that it's unique. It has its own specific taste, its own brand, its own reasoning, its own purpose. And an acquired man is one who is serious and has a code of countering everyday situations and problems that impacts his life each and every single day according to the code in all 9 areas of people activity, which is economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And the acquired man is one who walks alone. He does not need to be acknowledged, which is a powerful trait. An acquired man is one who's always 20 years mature around most people that he's met, mainly women in the dating pool. People don't really understand the way that he thinks, the way that he moves, the way that he talks. And that's okay. But the one thing that's truly important to me that I found so disturbing is that I realized that in the grand scheme of things, black men do not have a true outlet to speak our problems, to speak our pains, to speak up on our traumas. Now, I've talked to many clinical therapists who claim they're black therapists and they work for black people to help cure our problems. And a lot of times I ask them, do you know the works of the late, brilliant, great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing? They absolutely don't have a clue of who she is. Or do you know anything about Neely Fuller, who was the author of the code? They absolutely have no idea who he is. And my next question is then, how is it that you're effectively helping black people to heal themselves, to deal with their traumas, to deal with everyday life in everyday situations? One of the biggest things that I struggle to come into the reality is to understand and meet people, both men and women, non-white people in the concept called America, to understand the depth and the impact of the system of white supremacy and what it has over our lives. I'm not a party animal. I'm not a man that drinks and smokes. I'm not a man that's caught up with travel. I don't need a passport. I see what's coming down the pipe, and life is too real for me to be partying and bullshitting and carrying on like I'm living my best life, like we don't have any problems in the world. The people who are hurting the most are the ones who laugh the most. They're the ones that party the most. They're the ones that dance the most. They're the ones that sing the most. When you look at a black man, you're looking at greatness. But you have no idea the undercurrent of the burdens and pains that he's walking with every single day. There are plenty outlets for women and children. There are plenty outlets for white men and white women. There are plenty of outlets for the LGBT community. And that's fine. That's righteous. But when you really seek deep into things, there is no outlet for the black man, especially one who is heterosexual, one who is alpha, and one who is masculine. It's not well received by society. Do you have any idea what it's like to wake up every day and walk outside of your door with the expectations of being mistreated, being followed in retail stores, being mean mugged, shunned upon, frowned upon? People see you, they walk the other way. Car stops short in traffic just because they don't want to make eye contact with you, and tell you that everything that you feel when you're expressing yourself, that you're too angry, that everything when you're expressing yourself, that it's not real, it's all in your head. Pull your bootstraps up, get back out on that pavement, be a man, grin and bear it. We've been hearing these things our whole lives. One of the guys, man, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago said, man, brothers need to get together, man, so we could sit down and we could talk about our issues and problems. And I absolutely thought he was crazy. But if I had any idea that I would now get to that point to where I feel the same way, I would have responded differently, and I would have honored his request to get the brothers together to talk about our problems, our situations, and our pains, whether it's fatherhood, whether it's career, whether it's health, whether it's dealing with family. We have a lot that we're toting, and we have a lot that we bear. We are the primary target in the society to be made dysfunctional. And the confusion sometimes with people who are outside of us are impatient or don't understand our reality and what we're going through. And many of you all don't even understand what's going on right in front of your eyes. The great Neely Fuller always said white supremacy is hiding in plain sight. So when it becomes to becoming an acquired man, anything that I present to you, anything that I tell you, it's not cap, it's not sensationalized, it's not fiction. There's a lot of things that analytics that Google will never be able to record and tell you or give you the numbers for you to research. And if you really want the data, stop and ask any black man, how does he feel? What is he going through? Is he okay? Has he eaten? Brothers, stop mean mugging each other when you see each other, sizing each other up, want to look at somebody's shoes all the way up to their neck. What does that mean? But then when you're in the presence of a white male, you are a model citizen, you're respectable, you're kind, you're cordial, you're polite. There's a high level of mental illness that is laying dormant and existent in all non-white men in the concept called America, whether they are aware of it or not, whether they are conscious of it or not, it exists. And sometimes we could be our own worst enemy. Nobody sees when you're trying to improve on yourself. Nobody's there when you're taking the steps to go to the gym to get your body back in shape. Nobody's there to kind of help guide you along when you're trying to change your diet and be a little bit more healthy. Nobody sees the frustrations and the situations that you go in on the job. And what really kind of sparked this was recently a real stark, dark revelation is that I realized that as a non-white man in the concept called America, I absolutely have no one to talk to understand what I feel and what I see based on my understanding of my reality and the system of white supremacy that impacts my life. I had to bring this back and reintroduce this platform for black men, for black fatherhood, for black mental health, for health, physically, health, spiritually. It doesn't even matter what you believe in. It doesn't matter your creed, your ethnicity. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation. I don't care about your financial status. I don't care about your educational degrees and your highest point of learning. Because at the end of the day, I am my brother's keeper. And I don't care if you in the lowest of lows or in the dumps, or whether you sitting high in a corporate building. I still am my brother's keeper. Black men, we must survive. Too many of us are having heart attacks and strokes. There are so many brothers that I've realized who have lost their lives before they even hit 50. Prior generations, they were living out to be old men, 80, 90 years old, still making babies, eating watermelon and sucking on honey. Y'all remember them old school guys be standing in the doorway, man, they be eating some fish with a watermelon. You know what I'm saying? We eating watermelon all the time, all day, every day, wondering why this man got 14 kids walking around here. So anyway, back on a more serious note, you must find and place and embed yourself in places where you are valued, not where you are loved. Even when you think that you have somebody to talk to, sometimes in the form of your own woman, she ain't gonna get it. And there's a double standard. And you must understand the severe social engineering of our people, where this thing is called black culture. I said prior, and I still will say it. This is the space where we're rising, where we want to give, now, what did I just say? I forgot what I used to say just that fast. This is the place where we're bringing sexy back to the everyday hardworking men and women who impact your life within close proximity. We want to rise above this madness, which is called Black culture. And this is the same thing with the acquainted man. The acquired man. I don't know why I keep saying acquainted. The acquired man, excuse me. So when you see him, honor him, respect him, value him. But when he's gone, he's gone. Acquired men are like the ghosts of society that nobody recognizes their greatness until 20 years later, when you have to walk through it and understand, like, yo, bro was on it years ago. The wheels are spinning back. I can tell you, I can't even count on how many hands and toes, how many people spin the wheels back. Be like, yo, Red, I didn't get you then, but I understood you now. I thought you was crazy. Same thing on the women's side. The time that people meet you, they're not going to understand you, and that's okay. But in the meanwhile, you self-improve. Continue to educate yourself and get healthy. Because one thing that I do realize is that God will bring you to that moment in life. And everybody has that moment in life that God will bring you to. I'll give you an example. Just the other night, I was watching the NBA quarterfinals with Denver versus Minnesota. And I believe it was right before halftime, Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets hit a half-court shot. Now, prior to that moment, it was a glory moment. It was on TV. It flashed on ESPN highlights all night long. People tweeted about it, talked about it on social media. But before that point, before that moment happened, because I'm talking about moments, Jamal Murray had never really been recognized as one of the top faces of the league, like a LeBron, like a James Harden, like a Melo, these top figures that people watch, like a Giannis, all the top wigs on all the top teams. He's always been a solid ball player. Mind you, he hit 2 game-winning shots against LA. But life is a beautiful thing where it brings you to that moment. You've worked hard all your life. It's going to bring you to a moment. You've studied the information, went to school and got the education. Nobody was there to help you study. Nobody was there to read off, answer the quizzes. You had to do it yourself. But your education will put you on a platform where it brings you to the moment. I'm talking to you, black man. It must get to the point to where you must not worry about outside noise, and you must become in tune with yourself, because everybody in life is going to be brought to that moment. And that's a moment of clarity to realize just how great you really are. You're the best thing walking. And I can guarantee you're not going to hear that in too many more places. So I really didn't know what I was going to say much of tonight, but I just knew I had to relaunch and say what I had to say and what I wanted to say. I am not the same. I am definitely a changed man. And I change spaces and I change people and I create separations. And it's never no hate. It's always forgiveness. But I'm going to continue to evolve. The important nature of developing and creating a network. Because as a black man, you are going to be shunned. You are going to be locked out. You are going to be denied. You are going to be profiled. You are going to be screened. You are going to pay a higher price than everybody else. This is a reality. So what must you create? People who value you, who occupy different positions of power in society. Whether it comes to getting property or trying to move into a new property, which I recently went through some screening and racial profiling. Because why? I didn't come in there switching like a girl. Maybe I didn't have a woman on my side signifying that I was married. Maybe I'm not Nigerian. Maybe I'm not a single Mexican girl. Maybe I just didn't fit the mold, but I definitely was screened at multiple properties. Application approved, credit on point, verification of income, 3-4 times the rent. All that checked out. Still couldn't find a place. So I had to create a network and reach out to people that I know could get shit done. And you're going to need this the remainder of your whole life, because business and life don't work the same for you, the same as everybody else, black man. You would hope that people will have the integrity to do right, have culture, have grace, have mercy. Don't expect it. When you go look for a car dealership, know somebody that works at a car dealership. When you go to the bank and you have to deal with the bank, know somebody who acts actual pull at the bank that's going to treat you right and give you a good interest rate, knowing that you got 800 credit. When it comes to health, make sure that you have a doctor that actually values your health and your well-being and don't always want to throw you on a pill. Try holistic doctors, even though we know the government is coming for them. When it comes to jobs, know somebody in that area. Create the network with people that you know that can get you where you need to be. Because one thing about the system of white supremacy is number one design is the domination, mistreatment, and control of the black phallus, which is the genetic material that can cause genetic annihilation of the recessive white gene. This is what this is all about. And this concept gets past the greatest of minds, and people truly don't understand what's being said. And I'll say this, and I'll reiterate this. If you are one that does not agree with anything that I say, if you say racism is not real, it doesn't affect you, it doesn't impact your life, then this platform is strictly not for you. Because one thing I am not going to do is be persuaded or ever walk away from this position, because the problem has not been solved. So you must create a network of people that truly value, that's going to look out for you in those needy moments and times when you're going to need help. And you're going to need business to get done. And I always say, some of the biggest devils I know look just like me, male and or female. So I have to deal with people who understand how to codify and counter this front to get things done. You must create a network. Never are you going to be able to just achieve and accomplish anything just based on grit and integrity when it comes to interaction with business. And that's in all 9 areas of people activity. Now, I'm not saying people don't have, a little bit better luck than others. Some people work out just fine to get the results and things that they need out of life. And that's fine and that's okay. But right now, I'm talking about a real serious situation that's driving thousands, millions of black men crazy. Mental illness, stress, laying in bed and not having heart palpitations because you have anxiety, because uncertainty is the number one thing that's running rampant in your mind because you just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and you presented the best business plan, and they still say it's not good enough. You go to work and you work the hardest, work the longest hours. You're there before everybody else and leave after everybody else, still not getting a promotion and a raise. And this is how things work, and it's all by design. So you must create a network and always respect, cherish, honor, and always keepsake the friendship of good people who value you enough to love you the correct way. Well, I don't have much to say. I'm not going to really talk it off and keep going. I've said what I had to say. But an acquired man is a unique individual. An acquired man is one that knows who he is and he knows his worth. He don't just allow anybody to come and go as they choose and please to. He don't allow anybody to treat him or handle him any type of way. And you must understand, this is a lonely walk. There are going to be days your children don't call you and reach out to you. There's going to be days family, hey, they're going to shun you. They may not invite you to the get together. There's going to be a lot of things that happen unbeknownst to you just because it's you. You're intimidating to people. You're triggering to people. You're striking to people because you're not like the normal. You're not like the average normal Negro walking around here silly, goofy, and talking about dumb shit all the time. You're quiet, you're reserved, you think, you're analytical, and you're about getting problems solved. And remember, the number one key for us as black men is fathers and having having the proper influence on the youth who are within proximity, which is something I've been learning a lot about lately in life, proximity. You are either within the proximity of somebody that's going to do you good, you're going to be in the proximity of somebody that's going to do you wrong, or you're going to be in the proximity of people that can help you be successful, or you're going to be within the proximity of people that's going to cause you to fail. It's all about proximity. And we want to be as successful to the best that we can. The last thing that I want to really bring home, and I want to drive this nail home to you, brothers, your number one priority is health, not chasing money, not chasing women. You know what I mean? Number one priority is health. The number one goal is not to be on pills. And if you are on drugs, pills and prescriptions, understand these are needed in certain cases. But your job is to try to get up off of it. And I'm not being unrealistic and real, because we do know that modern medicine does have its play. It does have its say so. And it does have its necessity when it's required. But your number one priority is health. Number one priority is health. I thank you for sitting in. You can get this information from anywhere else. I value anybody that follows this platform and everyone that supports me. I value so much. I appreciate you and I honor you. And I promise, shout out to my homeboy Anthony, I promise to always keep this content high level value for black men who care about themselves, who are acquired men. You just don't allow anybody to just taste you experience you, be with you, learn you, study you. You are an acquired taste, and you must carry yourself as such. This ain't about hate. This ain't about anger towards anybody. This is all about self-evaluation, self-improvement, black man. And let's say this, man. Let me say this. We do owe the sisters an apology. We do owe our black women an apology. Regardless and despite what history has shown us, when the government came in and told that black woman to remove the black man so you can get these government benefits. And then the second wave of hit was crack cocaine in our communities. We still owe our women an apology because we did drop the ball on a lot of responsibilities that the fourth generation of men manned. We did drop the ball on leadership. We did drop the ball on provision, providing and protecting our women and children. We have dropped that ball. And I do understand their anger in certain ways. We have shown that we are incompetent in areas of problem solving where we always rely and depend on the woman to do it. It's just like what they say back in Jim Crow or back in the South and slavery on the plantation. The woman would always come to try to protect the man. She'd show up at the door to meet the slave master to try to protect her husband or her brother or her uncle or sometimes even her father. But we must get back and claim our role and our seat in society as men first, a father second, and a husband third. and this is what it must be. So we owe our women an apology, and I apologize for myself. To the women I may have had, to the women I've had children by, to the women I may have dated. I've not always been right. I'm not a perfect man. I am a very flawed man, but my intentions have always been well. But I do respect honesty, truthfulness, and transparency. That's the one thing I'll always honor and respect. So moving forward, black man, this is about self-improvement. And I expect you to do just that. Starting from this very moment moving forward, you need to start to get into quiet spaces, think and meditate, and figure out where you need to clean up in your life. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering for you. And you got this. You're the greatest thing that God ever created. They say that the black man is God, and he's the physical manifestation of the unseen. And I believe that. Because that black gene is dominant. I don't really want to get into all that. But I appreciate you all as always. And until next time, man. And I promise to have guests. I met so many people, so many great people in these podcast communities on Facebook. It's like unbelievable. It's phenomenal. I got my one brother that's going to be coming on from the UK, man. His voice is like phenomenal. Like, I wish I could talk like that. It's a beautiful thing, yeah. And a beautiful photographs. Oh man, know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about, man. But we're gonna make this pop, man. But moving forward, man, this content is about to be something serious. I got guests that's gonna be something serious. And ladies, I don't want y'all to ever think this has anything to do with anti-black woman, because it's not. Because the reality of it is, I'm not with the black man versus the black women war bullshit. I can't do that. I can't do it anymore. This is all about us understanding one another, self-improving, and getting our community back where it needs to be. And everybody don't need to come alone. This ain't about trying to save the whole world and everybody in the black community. It's not about that. But for the people who understand becoming that acquired taste within the community where you're just like the greatest abstract, the people that will never understand you, hey, it's okay. It's a lonely walk, but if you can embrace it, you're going to become a very powerful individual. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for sitting in. And until next time, the biggest mistake that you can make in life is to think that you have time. Peace.
Equality versus equity. Equality means every child gets a pair of shoes. Equity means every child gets a pair of shoes that fit. That means every school district has to meet every student's individual needs.
I'm Jerry O'Green with the Black Student Advocate. We advocate for black employees and black students within the K-12 school districts. We hold school districts accountable to make sure that black students and employees are in a fair and equitable workplace.